Listen, I'm 35 years old. So Lane Kiffin getting the job at Tennessee at 34, just really like going back and looking at the dates, right? Because I was totally invested in college football in 2009 when he took the Tennessee job, right? I was deep into
Right.
recruiting when he flipped Bryce Brown to go to Tennessee and pulls Jansen Jackson from LSU. Very sneakily, right? Convinces him not to tell LSU until the day of and flips. I mean, that's Lane, right?
Yeah.
A young man that's sneaky, but also very privileged, a guy that got the Raiders job at, right from the jump at 29 or 30 years old because of his dad, right?
Mhm.
I think that experience, right, going to Tennessee and sabotaging that situation for his dream job, right? Well, of course, you're 34 years old.
Yeah.
Like anybody dream job, USC comes calling, you're probably going to take it and leave Rocky Top. I'm just being honest, right? Especially
Right.
back then. When that transpired, I think lessons were absolutely learned. At the time, I thought he was a clown that knew how to run an offense, right?
Sure.
And knew how to recruit. And then when he went to Alabama, that's when my perception of him changed. When Nick Saban took him at Alabama and he made him the OC, and honestly, the biggest thing I feel like he learned was how to use his hands when he talks because he just
Right.
explains everything like Nick. But there was certainly another level of intentionality and kind of professionalism that was developed at Alabama that was very noticeable, but still not someone that I would feel comfortable like, okay, we have to get that guy as a head coach. It was
Right.
still too soon in that time period. And at that time period, we were looking at, replacing Les with Tom Herman and Jimbo Fisher. And
Yeah.
then eventually with the Edo situation, it was Lincoln Riley. Like Lane was always there, always kind of attainable, but no one wanted to touch him, right? He had to
Right.
rehab himself. This whole thing was about him rehabbing, right? This whole documentary last year about I'm a different person, I'm doing yoga, I'm
Right.
healthy. Like that whole thing was to sell himself as being ready for one of these types of jobs. I feel like that's all this was about. Now, when he took the FAU job, it got a little bit better. When he went to Ole Miss, it was a wait and see, right? And clearly, year by year, you saw him building, and he was evolving into more of a stable type of coach that was not. I know that's very ironic based on what just happened this week, but stable in a sense of this guy's not going to leave in a year. This guy is not going to, go 6-6 and fire half his staff and, have a crazy, theatrical, I don't know, just sabotaging a program. I just did
Right.
not see that happening with Lane. And so I started to certainly want him as a coach eventually. Right. So started off very rocky, very well defined history with Lane Kiffin, very well documented. It wasn't until recently what he has done at Ole Miss that really solidified he's ready now. Right. And I think that's where the perception changed for me as a fan of Lane Kiffin.